So there's this story of this Zen master, and this Zen master lived up in like the Himalayan mountains, and he was a master of philosophy and enlightenment and peace. And so a lot of people traveled to this Zen master from all over the world to learn about how to live and how to get peace and enlightenment. And so one day, this really successful businessman, this guy who was a head of multiple companies and had all these people who worked for him, employees and everything, and was used to always being in charge. One day he because he had a lot of stress in his life, and he wanted to find peace and enlightenment in his life, and learn how to become truly happy and everything. So he decided to travel and see this Zen master. So he flew across the world and went up into the mountains to find this Zen master, and he gets to the Zen master, and so he says he said teach me about enlightenment, how to become happy, how to get peace in my life. And so the Zen master smiles and says, okay, yeah, sure, let's discuss this over some tea. And so the man follows the Zen master, and they sit down, and so the man says, okay, all right, I'm ready. Teach me. I'm ready to learn about enlightenment. All right, teach me. Kind of bossy and everything. So the Zen master pulls out a teacup for himself and starts pouring tea into the man's cup, and as he pours until it starts overflowing, and soon the tea is spilling all over the table and onto the man's clothing, and till finally the man says, stop, what are you doing? What's wrong with you? Can't you see you're making a mess? You're spilling tea all over me. And so the Zen master says, yes, because your cup is full and your cup can't receive anymore. You are like that cup. So come back to me when your cup is empty. And so this is a real old story, and there's different versions of it, but it's such a powerful story. And what it is, it's an allegory teaching about the importance of continuing to stay humble, and always being open to learning, to being a forever student. That the essence of life is growth, and that once you have stopped, you're either growing or dying, and once you've gotten to the point where you're no longer able to learn anything because you think you know it all, then that's the point when you stop growing, and you're either going or dying in life. There's a great quote that I heard one time, and it was that the illiterate of the 21st century is not going to be those who can't read or write, but the illiterate of the 21st century is going to be those who are unable to unlearn, relearn, and learn. And that's so true, and that's so powerful. I got my my bachelor degree at 21 years old, my 4-year degree. And one thing that I noticed, and that I've noticed amongst people that are have a lot of college education, and I'm not knocking college or anything like that, but one thing that I've noticed amongst a lot of people that have a lot of college education is that all of a sudden it's like they can't learn anything from anybody unless they have more college education than them. But it's if they have a PhD or a master's degree and you only have a bachelor's degree, then they can't learn anything for you, and they already know everything, and there's nothing you can teach them. And again, not everybody is like this, but that's a common theme that I see amongst people, is that once they reach a certain point in life through their achievements or their accomplishments or their status, their cup becomes full, and they become unable to learn new information, and they don't realize just how much that holds them back in life. I always find it interesting when someone will pay me for one-on-one coaching, and then the entire time I try to help them, they already know everything. Oh, I already know that, and then it's like, and it cracks me up because it's like, why are you paying me for my time? You're the one paying me, and yet you're not willing to hear what I have to say. and this happens more often than not. It's always interesting to me that people will pay me and then they won't even be open to what I have to teach them. And the thing is, maybe you have already heard something or learned something before in the past. You watched a video, you read a book. But if you get to that mindset, just because I saw this once, or I already learned about that before, and you think you immediately know it all on that subject or whatever, then you're just a dabbler, and you'll never reach the level of mastery in it. Mastery, you got to be willing to learn something over and over and relearn it and unlearn it and learn it inwards and outwards and backwards and forwards. That's how you develop mastery. And sometimes, even though you may have learned something in the past, or you heard a video or a speech or something before in the past, sometimes when you hear it a second or third or fourth, fifth, 10th time or whatever, all of a sudden something clicks. And you see it in a different way, and you learn it differently. Maybe it was the messenger. Sometimes you just hear something from someone differently, and then all of a sudden it's a completely different message. It resonates and connects with you on a totally different level, just because of the messenger or the timing that it was in your life. You hear one lesson or one thing at one point in your life, and you hear the exact same thing at a different stage or point in your life, and they're going to be two different lessons, two different messages. And that's why it's so important to be willing to unlearn, relearn, so that you can learn again. It's a part of the process, and it's always good to learn things from all different angles, so that way you can truly learn it in inside and out. And so that's so important to remember to stay humble, and not get to that point where you use three of the most limiting words of them all, which is, I know that. It's one of the three words that holds people back so much. I know that. It's like, I just got out of jiu-jitsu, and I've been training jiu-jitsu now for right about 3 years now, and I always find it interesting that, there's those that come in, and they continue to stay humble, and they're so eager to learn from anybody at any level in there, and they humble themselves, being willing to learn, and those types of people are the ones who typically progress and do very well. And then there are those who come in there and I know that you try to teach them or help them, it's like their first or second class, but I know that I used to do wrestling 10 years ago, I used to do whatever, karate 10 years ago, I know that. And they're not open to learning because they know that they already learned that like 15-20 years ago or something, and they know and then it's like you don't want to help them or teach. Okay, all right, that you're all good, everything. And they don't realize how much that holds them back. And essentially what that is the ego. The ego creeping up, thinking that you know it all, you already know it all. And so the key is to let go of the ego, to let go of the ego, to humble yourself, and being always willing to be a student. Don't get that attitude that you've arrived. I always like to maintain that attitude that I haven't arrived yet. That I like to work. I always like to work as if I'm in second place. That I'm striving for that first place. A lot of times people, when they get first place and they get some successes in their life, some achievement, all of a sudden they get that good old ego that holds them back so much, and like, okay, I've already got first place, I'm good now, and I can't learn anything from anybody. But anybody, you can learn things from anybody. It doesn't, I don't care if it's someone, I don't care how rich they are, poor they are, if it's a homeless guy on the side of the street. I'm still willing to learn from them. And still, everybody that comes into your life can be your teacher. Whether it's your ex-girlfriend that treated you like crap and cheated on you, or whether it's a billionaire that you met on a business appointment. Everybody can be your teacher if you are willing to be, if you are open to receiving and you're willing to learn the lessons. And in every situation in life, success and failure has lessons and golden nuggets in it to teach. If you are open, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So that's the importance of humbling yourself and allowing yourself to receive all the hidden lessons that are intertwined into life, because they're all around us. It's just a matter of being open to it. And I think that's a big reason of why people get depressed in their life, and they get low energy. One of the most common reasons why people go to the doctors is due to low energy. And and depression is rampant, and I believe there's a lot of different reasons, but I believe one reason why is they stop growing. See, the essence of life is growth, and not just physically, but a big part of it mentally and spiritually. And if you've gotten to the point where you're no longer able to learn everything because you already know everything, you've already read all the books on spirituality and happiness and you've read the self-improvement books, I already know all that stuff, then you're not growing. But when you're learning, that's one of the most exciting times in life, is when you're learning something you're excited about. It reignites a passion inside of you. And that's where you want to humble yourself and allow yourself to learn new information. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And you'll find that when you humble yourself and you let go of the ego and you allow yourself to be willing to learn from everybody, whether if they're considered below you or above you or whatever, and you allow yourself to learn, all of a sudden you're going to find that the teachers that you've been looking for in your life are going to magically appear. And all of a sudden you're going to find all the mentors that you've been looking for, the role models that you've been looking for, the books and the videos and the different things in your life that you've been looking for, that it's like, you've been searching for these answers, you've been searching for a helping hand, some guidance. But when you humble yourself and you lower the ego and you allow yourself to be a student, a forever student, then all of a sudden the best teachers of your life will fall into your lap, and that's why when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So let go of that limiting belief that you already know everything. That I tried it in the past. I tried that that diet, or I tried that workout in the past. So that doesn't work, or whatever. Whatever. I know how that business works. I have a friend who did that business and it didn't work. Let go of that ego and allow yourself to be a student. You got to be willing to unlearn, relearn, so that you can learn again and get to a deeper level of understanding. And a lot of times you'll find that the deeper you get into researching and learning, that the more you have to learn. That's one of the most interesting things. The more you learn on something, the more you have to learn. The more you're like, oh my gosh, it's kind of ironic how that works. The more you learn, the more you realize that you have to learn. And that's why a lot of times people who think they know it all, I know it, they know it all and everything, they're actually the ones who know the least. But they don't realize, they don't realize how much that belief that they already know everything, and that they know it all. They know all the answers and everything. They got it all figured out. They don't understand just how much that mindset is holding them back. So guys, remember, you can always, there's beautiful lessons around you, all to learn. You can learn some of the greatest lessons in this world in your life from your dog, from the snail on the sidewalk, from the plants in your garden, your weeds, and there's lessons all around you. You got to humble yourself and stay open. Empty your cup so that you can receive more tea. With that being said, guys, I hope you're having a great day. Let's make it a great week, a great month, a great year. Let's make it a great life. See ya.